Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Gay, and today with me I have Kathleen. We invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel Monday through Friday between 10 a.m. and noon each weekday. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide variety of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast on KSMU radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a programmed radio. From the Springfield News-Leader today, an article by Claudette Riley. She is talking about the Thanksgiving race here in Missouri. It's one of the largest that we've ever had. The 31st annual Thanksgiving Day Turkey Trot. It was a 5K run and walk, and it's been a holiday tradition that starts and ends in downtown Springfield, including this year 6,468 participants. This year's total was up more than 4% over 2024's 6,206 participants, and it was the largest turkey trot turnout since 2019. Associated with this article, there is a picture of all the thousands of runners, and most of them have donned some kind of knit cap, and some have turkeys on their heads, and some have all kinds of different things. They've got googly eyes, and they've got really warm jackets because from what I understand, it was really cold doing the turkey trot. I also see some Kansas City Chiefs fans out there and some guy with a big duck head on the top of his head. I'm not sure how he ran with that duck head on his head, but apparently he did. This article was provided by Nathan Papes, and he's a photographer for the Springfield News-Leader. Registration included nearly 600 participants with, guess what, dogs this year. So there were 4-legged runners and 2-legged runners this year. The 31st annual event remains Springfield's largest timed 5K race, and proceeds benefit the Developmental Center of the Ozarks and the Springfield Greene County Park Board Youth Recreation Scholarship Program. The event also serves as one of the largest one-day food drives of the year for Ozarks Food Harvest. Following the race, the award winners were announced. The overall female was Courtney Friericks, and she's 32, and she ran it in 16 minutes and 43 seconds. She is a Nixa native and is a 3-time silver medalist and a 2-time Olympian who competed in the 2016 and 2020 Olympic Games. She also won the Turkey Trot's overall female winner in 2016 at 16 minutes and 38 seconds. The overall male winner was James Nocton, and he's 20. He ran it in 15 minutes and 15 seconds. He came in second in 2024 at 15:27. The Masters Group female, and that's the ages of 40 to 59, the winner was Casey Wilson. She's 41, and she ran it in 18 minutes and 20 seconds. The Masters male, the 49 to 59 category, was Andrew Johnson. He's age 41. He ran it in 17 minutes and 25 seconds. He also won that category in 2024. There were also runners that were a little bit older than that. The Grand Master female runner was 60, and she is Carrie Huff, and she ran it in 25 minutes and 31 seconds. And the Grandmaster male, the winner of this category, is still undetermined, so there's some pending certification out there on the results. Medals were mailed out to first, second, and third place winners. The 31st annual Turkey Trot 5K Run Walk was presented by Hall Ansley PC. Healthcare sponsors was Cox Health. Additional sponsors included Davis Properties, Foundation Recovery Systems, Great Southern Bank, Guarantee Bank of the Ozarks, Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper Bottling Company, and Phelps County Bank.
Good morning. This is Kathleen, and it's a cold morning out there, is it not? I am going to talk about the Mercy partnering on 30 million pediatric facility with Children's Mercy. The outpatient center is part of the partnership finalized in November 1st. Mercy Springfield Community's pediatric partnership with Kansas City-based Children's Mercy got a major shot in the arm with a November 19th announcement. Officials with the health systems gathered at Mercy's South Campus to unveil plans for a 30 million pediatric outpatient center that would span 40,000 square feet across 2 floors. The project site is on currently vacant land that's part of Mercy's real estate holdings that also hold an orthopedic hospital, rehab facility, and newly opened emergency department at the U.S. Highway 65 and Evans Road. As we have been exploring the partnership and the needs of the community, one of the things that we want to make sure we do is to bring that access to kids close to home. And we want to do that in a way that's built for kids. This is said by Debbie Schwarzkopf, Interim Chief Administrative Officer, who is heading up local efforts for Children's Mercy. We want the environment to be a seamless experience for patients and families as they exploring their health care and receiving the very best care that they can by this partnership. Schwarzkopf was joined by Mercy Springfield Community's President John Myers, who said the new building would help fulfill the partnership's goal of expanding access to pediatric care. It's always been part of the plan to make sure we have access to care close to home, he said. This is just the most recent development in what we're doing. The site details include the Snyder Construction Group, LLC, is serving as general contractor for the project designed by HDR Engineering and Corporation, officials say. Construction is expected to start by year's end, and the facility is targeted to open in December 2026. The site itself is south of Mercy's existing South Campus operations, including the November 18th opened emergency department, itself a $32 million project. The new pediatric outpatient facility is located along the Innovation Avenue, parallel to U.S. Highway 65, just north of the Innovative Dental. At Mercy's South Campus, the health system's $115 million orthopedic hospital opened in 2013, followed by the $28 million rehabilitation hospital in 2014, according to past reporting. We have about 50 acres, Myers said, while outlining plans for the new pediatric outpatient center. This would be the border to the south and the east, but we have land to expand going to the west. The partnership, Mercy finalized its pediatric care agreement with Children's Mercy on November 1st. The 2 health systems in August signed a joint operating agreement, setting up the arrangement following the announcement of a partnership between the organizations in March 2024. Children's Mercy is now providing leadership oversight of pediatrics, with providers employed by Mercy according to the deal's terms. The agreement covers Mercy's existing pediatric hospital within Mercy Hospital Springfield, and its specialty care clinics, along with the future pediatric and outpatient facility. Children's Mercy is additionally setting up a patient and family advisory council in the Springfield area that officials say that provide feedback to help grow the partnership with Mercy. This partnership is actually building on the framework that already existed in Springfield, Schwarzkopf said. The intent of this partnership is really just to enhance what exists today.
As we come to the end of the year, many times local leaders will talk about the things they're thankful for our Springfield community. Claudette Riley from the Springfield News-Leader spoke with several of our key leaders in the community, and she was asking them, at the end of this challenging year, what are the things that you are thankful for? They shared what inspired their gratitude this year in their lives and in their roles in the community. Absolutely, I am thankful. I am thankful for this community I get to serve and the other area leaders I work alongside. I am thankful of those who are helpful in our community, and it's an understatement as appreciation for our staff who continuously show up and provide truly great service around the clock. That quote is from Sheriff Jim Arnott, and that quote also has a picture of Sheriff Arnott in his full dress uniform, which includes his hat and his dress blues. I am also grateful to continue living the joyous life of fatherhood, which has also provided me the opportunity to be a grandfather. I don't think thankful really conveys the message well enough, but yes, I have a lot to be thankful for, continued Sheriff Jim Arnott. The next quote comes from Sean Askinosi of Askinosi Chocolate. It's also accompanied by a picture of Sean in a blue denim shirt and smiling happily for the camera. And Sean says, the overwhelming sense of gratitude begins with my grandchildren. I'm struck by the sheer love in my 19-month-old grandson's eyes when he races towards me, whether it's been a few weeks or just a couple of days. The first time I really noticed this was one day when we went with my daughter and husband to pick him up from school. He saw me through a crack in the door and ran as fast as his little legs would carry him past everyone straight into my arms. There really aren't any words to describe what it feels like to have someone run to you with such joy, especially when I really didn't do anything to earn it. He doesn't do it because he's impressed with my resume. Similarly, my 5-year-old granddaughter starts every sentence with my name, Ta. It's like a little song. The way she says it makes it difficult to concentrate on what she's going to ask for next. That was Sean Askinosi, former and founder and CEO of Askinosi Chocolate. Our next quote comes from community leader Alice Barber, and the picture was provided by her. She's in a bright yellow shirt, and she has really interesting octagon-shaped glasses on her face. This year, I am thankful for all the friends and neighbors who came together to build a better Springfield, one where a person is safe, healthy, has accessibility, and an affordable home. Thanks to the tenants at Jenny Lind Hall and the 90 people who rallied with them in January, we are closing out the year with a working elevator. Because folks from Springfield Tenants Unite, the NAACP, Jobs with Justice, League of Women Voters, and neighborhoods and churches all around the city joined together in support of healthy homes for all. Our city passed the first step towards a citywide rental inspection program. Nothing gives me hope for the future like seeing so many people show up for one another, build communities, and win a real change. That was Alice Barber, co-founder, Springfield Tenants Unite. Our next quote comes from Max Beto, and he's with Cox Health. As I reflect on this season of gratitude, I'm very thankful to live in a region where personal relationships still matter and where people consistently show up for one another. At Cox Health, I see that spirit every day in the works of our caregivers. In the past few weeks, 2 close friends experienced unexpected medical emergencies and both received exceptional care and outcomes. Those moments remind me that behind every statistic or every headline are people whose skills, compassion, and presence change lives. I'm also grateful for the broader momentum we're seeing across the Ozarks, from community recognition like William Mahoney's Missouri Hospital Association Distinguished Service Award and Sally Hargis being named Person of the Year, to the growing partnership and progress throughout the region. There is a sense that we are moving forward together, leading the community-owned health system with deep local roots and a profound responsibility, and one I'm especially thankful for this year. The next quote comes from the Executive Director, Janet Dankert, from Community Partnerships of the Ozarks. And Janet's picture reflects a bright red head and with really green eyes, and she's wearing a black jacket and a burgundy type top. I am deeply grateful for the work we do at CPO and for the incredible team who are the heart and soul of our organization. Each day I see the differences our work makes, from helping connect homeless families and individuals to shelters and housing, to strengthening neighborhoods through cleanups and leadership initiatives. I'm thankful for our prevention efforts that promote mental health and keep youth healthy and supported, and for our early childhood work that helps parents access quality childcare and resources. I am thankful for our mentoring programs, which build life-changing relationships with SPS students who simply need a consistent, caring adult. Seeing these connections grow and students gain confidence, stability, and encouragement is one of the most inspiring impacts for our work. Lastly, I am grateful for our board of directors and community partners who share a common commitment to making the Ozarks stronger and who give purpose to all we do. It's an honor to play a role in building hope and helping our community thrive every single day. And that last quote was from Janet Dankert. She's the president and CEO of Community Partnerships of the Ozarks. Next is Bob Dixon, and Bob Dixon is dressed in a suit, and he has a red tie and a blue and white checkered top. This week, I'm flooded with many thankful thoughts for a growing, loving family near and far, those who've gone on and those still present, for a faith that offers heritage and hope, worthwhile struggle and freedom from fear, for a community that expects and still practices care and compassion for others, for a work family of true servants, both elected and employed, who exemplify integrity, honor, and excellence, for community partners who practice meaningful collaboration and share a vision of brighter days for all those we serve, for an amazing region rich in culture, resources, and natural beauty, for a nation still working on a form of more perfect union and still pledging itself to liberty and justice for all as we approach 250 years of independence, for all those who sacrificed that we might breathe free, for those who taught us that we might be educated and love to learn, for those who called us to be better versions of ourselves. Bob Dixon, Presiding Commissioner, Greene County Commission. Our next quote is from Jeff Frederick, and he says, a national holiday since proclaimed by Abraham Lincoln in the fall of 1863, Thanksgiving is a time to remember, reflect, and pause to acknowledge blessings. Each of us do that in our own way, some over a table full of food and family, others at a graveside to remember someone who has passed, still others in a quiet solitude with a whispered prayer for health, safety, and loved ones in harm's way. I am grateful for our university here at Drury, for the students we serve, the people who work alongside in steadfast belief of our mission. Springfield and the Ozarks have been gracious to Melinda and I, welcoming, partnering, and supporting our efforts to make a difference for communities and institutions. In a year where we just celebrated the 1-year birthday of our first grandchild and the 19th of my mother, the 90th of my mother, I am especially thankful for the circle of life where the gifts of family, friends, meaningful work, joy, and hope should never be taken for granted. Jeff Frederick, President, Drury University.
This is Kathleen, and now I'm going to speak of an article about our animals here in Springfield. There are 3 pictures, one of a calf that is white and brown, very fluffy hairy. And the second picture, it looks like a Jack Russell that is brown and white striped, looking out to see what is going on about him. And then a picture of a frog. The frog has an orange head, part of its body. It has big black eyes and black spots on part of its body. Its legs are black spotted. The name of the article is The Pets of Springfield in Southwest Missouri. And with a quote that states, "We can all agree, our pets are our life. Read about some of our favorite local pets. Land their devoted humans from around Springfield, Missouri." Pets have a way of bringing people together and bringing out the best in us all. Across Southwest Missouri, they're tagging along on hikes, brewery visits, and photo shoots, and stealing the spotlight at home. This feature is a love letter to our local pet community and the 4-legged or feathered friends who make life a little sweeter. So we have some pictures about the owners and the pet. The first one is, it looks like a husband and a wife, both wearing green shirts and blue jeans. Their dog looks like a Labrador. He is white, wearing a red handkerchief about his neck. They are all smiling. Bon Appetit Dog Treats mission is simple: to provide healthy, tasty treats for dogs, all tested by the owner's own furry friend with a taste for quality control. And then there's a picture of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dogs. The first one is a German Shepherd, brown and black in color. The second is a larger poodle, all white. The third is a tiny little pup. It looks like it's brown and white and looks like a Cocker Spaniel. The fifth is a white dog with black ears, with a handkerchief about its neck. The sixth is a white dog with some dark spots. And the sixth is a tinier pup. He is white with black spots and brown spots, and they all appear like they are just happy. They are known as the Dude Crude. Scrolling through your feed just got a little brighter thanks to the 417 Dude Crude. The Dude Crude is a group of local doodles which owners get them together for play dates, photo shoots, hikes, and community events. The group was started toward the end of 2020 by Anna Martin, Sherry Thompson, and Bailey Greenstreet. It all began when the 3 met in dog training classes. Greenstreet works at Bass Pro, and the company sent out a call for dog photo submissions. The 3 of them took their pups on a playful photo shoot with boats and ATVs. The rest is history, Greenstreet says. The Dude Crude members include Anna's Coda James, Thompson's River James, and Rocky Blake. Green Street's Ditzy and Hannah Trujillo's Oakland, Green Street's Cocker Spaniel Doug, and Anna's German Shepherd Dorothea Iris are honorary members of the crew. The group has 2 angel members as well, Trujillo's Guinness and Leah Martin's Luna, another German Shepherd and honorary member. We always joked that her mom and dad were German Shepherds, but her heart was a doodle, Leigh says. The dogs have become the best of friends, exploring places like Dogwood Canyon Nature Park and Paws Posy Patch. Always photogenic, they sport matching Dude Crew bandanas from Thompson's Business, Urban Rebel Pet Boutique. The Dude Crew gave my pups incredible socialization. People I can trust to love my dogs as their own, and lifelong friendships for both of them and me, Trujillo says.
In case you haven't heard, the Springfield Daily Citizen issued a report by Ryan Collingwood, and guess what? They're now called the Bowlin' Bears. Missouri State is set to play in the program's first ever bowl game. This report is accompanied with a picture of MSU's Dash Luke as he runs in the second half against Louisiana Tech at Plaster Stadium in Springfield. He's got 2 players that are on the ground, and they have barely missed his back foot. He's got that ball, and he's holding it to the left, and he's running with all his might. In the moments following Missouri State's 42-30 loss to Louisiana Tech on Saturday at Plaster Stadium, quarterback Jacob Clark wasn't sure if he'd peeled off his rain-soaked maroon jersey for the final time. Clark was among the 24 players honored in an emotional Senior Day ceremony before the Bears' Conference USA regular season finale, a group that wasn't quite certain if it was their final collegiate football game. Perhaps the best signal caller in the program's history, Clark held a cautious optimism that the Bears could sneak into a bowl game if outside factors played into the Bears' favor, giving him one more opportunity to play for the school that helped resurrect his career. Final game at Plaster season hasn't hit me yet, he said, with all the bowl uncertainty, so I'm hoping to sneak into a bowl game so I have another opportunity with all these guys, said Clark, who passed for 294 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Bulldogs, 7-5, 5-3. About 6 hours after falling to this inaugural football bowl subdivision season in a chilly, wet, and windy conditions at Missouri State, they learned it would be a historic 13th game. Missouri learned about 10:30 p.m. that its season was extended as confirmation by Conference USA. I couldn't be more happy for our football team and coaches, athletic director Patrick Ransdell posted on X. They worked their tails off, were excluded from the FCS playoffs last year. This is well deserved. We appreciate all our efforts. Missouri State became eligible for its bowl game late Saturday night when only 80 FBS teams ended the regular season with bowl-eligible records, which is 6 wins or more. 2 short of the 82 bowl slots. Through MSU had a bowl-eligible record, its first-year FBS transition status prevented the Bears from qualifying for a bowl, a long-time NCAA rule that has recently been challenged, unless there's a shortage of bowl teams. Missouri State and Fellows first-year FBS Program and Conference USA member Delaware, who was 6-6, had enough wins to fit into the 2 available remaining slots. In 2023, the transitioning FBS members James Madison and Jacksonville State were allowed to participate in bowls due to a combination of their winning season and a shortage of eligible teams. Now Missouri State awaits its bowl destination. Bowl pairings, dates, locations will all be announced in the coming days as the official bowl selection show is Sunday, December 7th, following next weekend's conference championship games. The school is encouraging any fans and students to fill out a postseason travel and ticket interest form, which lists 15 possible destinations. Before third-year coach Ryan Beard learned his team would extend its season, he said he wanted to make sure his team would be prepared. We have to make sure we get healthy in case we get to go to a bowl, get our brains right so that we make sure when we're eligible, we're ready. We need to make sure our academic progress is outstanding, and I think it's one of the best in the program's history, Beard said. So right now, it's a matter of wait and see, get the nicks and bruises healed up, be patient, and see what shakes out from here. That was reporter Ryan Collingswood as a sports reporter for the Springfield Daily Citizen.
We are going to speak some business from the Springfield News-Leader. The first one is JVIC. Invest $4 million in 4 projects. Hear from legislators December 2nd. Library hosts discussion with local legislators. The Springfield Greene County Library District will host local voices, local decisions, a legislative discussion from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Tuesday, December 2nd, in the Library Center of Hatch Auditorium, 4653 South Campbell Avenue. The free event will feature an interactive panel discussion with local legislators, policy experts, and community leaders as they key issues impacting our community. Greene County residents will learn about upcoming legislation and hear viewpoints on education, infrastructure, public safety, and the environment. Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce President Matt Morrow will moderate the session featuring the following legislators: Senator Lincoln Hu, District 135 Representative Betsy Fogel, District 136 Representative Stephanie Hine, District 132 Representative Jeremy Dean, and District 133 Representative Melanie Stinnett. Attendees are asked to bring questions for a question and answer after the discussions. This event will also showcase the new Hatch Auditorium at the Library Center, a 500-seat addition recently constructed for public and private use. The grand opening weekend is scheduled for January 16th through the 18th. The JVIC Advanced Manufacturing Node announces $4 million in awards. The Jordan Valley Innovation Center, which is the JVIC Advanced Manufacturing Node at Missouri State University, recently announced an investment of almost $4 million in 4 cutting-edge products. These projects are a key part of the strategic initiative to leverage the Missouri NetFlex node at JVIC and support private sector innovation in the semiconductor industry. The awarded projects span a range of innovative technologies and workforce development investments. For Brewer Science, $1 million. For Serra Nova Corporation, $999,705. The GVD Corporation, $1 million. And the SRC Electric, is $1 million. These investments will drive research and development, foster collaboration with industry partners, and create high-skilled jobs in Missouri. JVIC is committed to supporting the growth of semiconductor industry and positioning Missouri as a leader in advanced manufacturing. New service for visually impaired launching December 1st. The Blind Community Thrift Store in Springfield is launching its new radio reading service on December 1st, making news and information more accessible to individuals who are blind or visually impaired. The service will deliver live readings of news articles, ensuring broad and inclusive access to current events. It will be available live starting at 10 a.m. on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel. Streamed through the KU Audio Reader Network's online platform and broadcast via KSMU through the Audio Reader Network's SCA radio signal. This multi-platform approach ensures that listeners can tune in from anywhere, whether online or traditional radio.
Share Your Christmas aims to foster happy holiday seasons in Springfield, an article by Hope Davis out of the Springfield News-Leader. After more than 6 decades, Share Your Christmas is adapting to changes and pushing ahead to expand access to happy holidays this year. The gift drive will serve more seniors in care centers than ever before, continue its partnership with Ambassadors for Children, and work around a major renovation in the Crosslines warehouse. Share Your Christmas is a partnership between Crosslines Community Outreach and the Springfield News-Leader that has provided Christmas gifts for low-income families and seniors since 1964. Each holiday season, the News-Leader shares anonymous profiles of recipients and their wish lists with information about how readers can contribute either by adopting recipients or by donating to Crossline. Staff and volunteers at Crosslines pull everything together in time to distribute the gifts a few days before Christmas. There is a greater need in 2025, according to Crossline's Share Your Christmas coordinator, Cheryl Watcher. She has organized the drive as a volunteer for over a decade. She coordinates with families to learn about them and get exact specifications for items on their wish list. Then she shares the information with the News-Leader, donors, and Crossline shoppers. By the time distribution day arrives, she has a selection of the warehouse meticulously organized with gifts and other supplies for each family and care center resident. This year especially, she wants to use the News-Leader profiles to share examples of how hardships that people are now facing in our community. She told the News-Leader that families who use Share Your Christmas and other Crossline services have been stretched thin by the federal pause providing Supplement Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, benefits due to the government shutdown. In talking with families, they will say, well, we thought we were going to be okay for Christmas for our kids, but now what little we had that we put aside for Christmas gifts is now going to have to be used for groceries. Wes Buchholz, Crossline's Vice President of Programs, said the Crosslines Pantry went from serving 107 families in a day to 170 during the SNAP funding freeze. He noted that the pantry can't supply families with everything they need for groceries. While Missouri began distributing partial payments on November 11th and full payments are on the way, he said that that doesn't erase the strain that it has put on families when payments were halted. Regardless of how it happened, a vital support systems families relied on disappeared with almost no warning. That kind of help can't be replaced overnight, yet hunger starts fresh every single day. Families had to find other ways to buy groceries, often using high-interest credit cards, missing rent, or skipping medications, and even though SNAP has been restored, those debts still remain. In addition to the traditional Christmas gifts, Share Your Christmas also tries to help families stock up on household essentials. Hygiene supplies are always in big demand. Families need supplies like children's toothbrushes, toothpaste, and shampoo. For people who can't adopt a whole family, he said donating these household items is a great way to contribute to the gift drive. The Share Your Christmas has also gotten more requests from care centers to provide for seniors who don't have families who can afford to give them gifts or make sure they have new clothes or books. This year, the drive will serve 100 care center residents and at least 40 families. He said that they are still continuing to add to their wish list and finalizing their numbers. For the second year, a majority of Share Your Christmas families are blended families with foster children and kinship placements growing up alongside adopted or biological children. Share Your Christmas is continuing to partner with Ambassadors for Children, another program from Crossline that provides gifts specifically for children in foster care. Last year, Buchholz told the News-Leader that families could fill their foster children's wish list through Ambassadors for Children, but had trouble getting gifts under the tree for other kids in their homes. With Share Your Christmas, families can ensure they have gifts ready for all their children. Families who don't receive gifts from Share Your Christmas can still benefit from other holiday assistance through Crosslines. The pantry accepts in-person applications for Christmas turkey or the Crosslines Christmas toy store during pantry hours from December 1st through the 5th. Early applicants were able to apply in October. So if you're interested in applying for that program, the application process is open December 1st through the 5th. Working around the renovation, donors and gift distributions will move through a different door this year as the Crosslines warehouse undergoes renovation. He told the News-Leader about 18% of the warehouse space is being converted to a full-time emergency women's shelter. Safe to Sleep is Crossline's shelter for women experiencing homelessness, and it has operated entirely out of borrowed space in churches for the past 14 years. Because those churches had to operate during the day, the spaces were temporary. Buchholz said Crossline struggled to find a permanent location for the shelter before deciding to use a portion of its approximately 29,000 square foot warehouse. He said construction should be finished around May. Reporting by KY3 said the planned space should offer Safe to Sleep guests more privacy with sleep pods and better access to other services in the Crosslines building. The shelter will also have a dedicated entrance, meeting space for case management, and computers for guests to use for creating resumes or completing job or housing applications. In the meantime, Share Your Christmas will have to work around the construction and operate out of new space in the warehouse. Rather than taking donations to warehouse doors, donators will now go through the Crosslines administrative offices. If you would like to donate to Share Your Christmas, you can call 417-866-8008 or email share@ccozarks.org. Gifts should be delivered to the administration entrance of the Crosslines Community Outreach Building. It's located at 3055 East Division Street, so 3055 East Division Street. Hours for delivery are 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 8 a.m. till noon on Friday. Monetary donations are welcome as they allow Share Your Christmas to purchase gifts that may be needed to complete a child's toy list or fill a box for a care center resident. If you would like to send a monetary gift to assist a particular family or a care resident, please note in the memo line of your check. You may also write "as needed" in the memo line, and your gift will be used to share your Christmas program. Please send any monetary donations to Share Your Christmas, P.O. Box 3947, Springfield, Missouri 65808. Gifts are due by Wednesday, December 17th. Monetary donations are welcome at any time.
And now an intern message. Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Come by and see us in person with daily deals at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. Veterans receive 25% discount every day, providing significant savings as a token of appreciation for their service. Additionally, the store features a weekly clothing sale, which all clothing items is available at 50% off every Wednesday. Seniors aged 55 and older benefit from 25% discount every Tuesday, making shopping more affordable for the senior community. And now switching over to the opinion on the Springfield News-Leader. This is an opinion that states this piece expresses the views of its authors, separate from those of this publication. This is by Lucas, who states Missouri is worth the work and we can do it together. Why did you stay in Missouri? The question I heard from a Central High School student last week underpins a narrative I hear across our state. Why stay in Missouri when we're told how different we all are and how we cannot work together? We are here because Missouri, our families, and our communities are worth the work. In a time of political divide, I see my own city pitted against other areas across the state. I see a story being told that needs of Kansas Cityans are not the same as those in smaller cities or rural towns. While our leaders too often divide us, I have found strong partners in your region and was reminded that we share far more similarities than differences. On my trip, I only scratched the surface of what Southwest Missouri has to offer. Southwest Missouri is rich with innovation, education, and opportunities for the next generation. I listened to residents and business owners alike talk about the rising cost of childhood and child care, the need for better workforce training in an era of change, funding threats to our public schools, and the need for more housing across the city. Commodities our regions share. Knowing that two regions in our state, different in population, demographics, and voting record, are dealing with the same issues creates a sense of not just camaraderie, but of duty. Missouri is worth the work for our communities statewide to navigate ways to lift our public schools and to ensure our bright students have strong foundations for their future job success. As I saw at Central High School, Missouri is worth the work for our cities statewide to establish meaningful partnerships between employers and communities that break cycles of poverty rather than perpetuating them, as was shared by the Springfield Chamber of Commerce. Missouri is worth the work for our communities and all cities statewide to create opportunities to recruit young professionals to stay and contribute to Missouri. Seeing the wealth of dynamic individuals at Drury University, Missouri State University, Ozarks Technical Community College, and in the Young Professionals Network. So what did I tell the student who asked the question? I shared that I want to continue providing the opportunities that change the trajectory of my life. Opportunities I received as a child living in Missouri, raised by a single mom by at times knowing homelessness. Those Missouri opportunities of yesterday are why I am able to succeed today. While not easy, I want that strong Missouri that raised me to be there for my children and yours. Missouri is worth the work. Let's show our leaders and competitors we are committed to doing the work all our Missouri communities deserve.
The Springfield News-Leader recently reported that notice vehicles are going to be stopping in front of Springfield's homes. If you notice these, here's what you need to know, according to Marta Maez, who is a Springfield News-Leader reporter. Springfield and Greene County residents may soon notice marked vehicles making stops at locations around the area to ensure 911 has the most accurate map and address data. Field vehicles marked with white signs and 911 mapping in red letters will mark their way across Greene County cities, towns, and recreational areas during daylight hours to collect and verify address information in the coming months. According to City News release, the vehicles will stop in front of structures to observe, verify, and document the posted address, but will not knock on doors or conduct interviews with residents. The vehicle shown in this newspaper article is a gray F-150 pickup truck. It has a huge sign on the driver's side door and passenger door that says 911 addressing and mapping. So if someone approaches your home, they should not come in and speak with you, but they should just be outside your home. If no address is posted or legible, the technician will mark the record for further investigation. The technician may leave the vehicle to verify the layout of an apartment unit or a building, according to the release, but they will not trespass on private property. The work is part of the Springfield Greene County 911 emergency communication system, updating the mapping and addressing data used in routing 911 calls through contracting with Spatial Data Research Incorporated. To pinpoint locations during emergencies, emergency service mapping uses geographical information system technology to create specialized digital maps, and this is done in order to create maps, critical data such as jurisdictional boundaries, road names, and specific agency information which are necessary, and is why SDR will be verifying information to ensure this data is up to date and accurate. The field work for this project is expected to be completed by the end of May 2026.
This is another opinion by the Springfield News-Leader. This is an opinion. This piece expresses the views of its authors, separate from those of its publication. The subtitle is Intelligence is One Thing. What Happened to All the Reasonable People? This is by Chuck McDaniel. In his reply to David Ansley of whether or not the current president exhibits certain Nazi characteristics, E.L. Strothide allows that both he, a doctor, and Ansley, a lawyer, are intelligent people. Strothide then goes on to brand all indictments, both legal and moral, against the sitting president as lawfare and such nonsense. What we lack now isn't intelligence, it's reason. Strothide twice repeats of its favorite claims of the president, that his 2024 victory was a landslide. In neither of his elections has the sitting president received over 50% of the popular vote. In neither of his election victories did he garner more than 60% of electoral college votes. Johnson in 64, Nixon in 72, Reagan in 80 and 84 each got more 90% of electoral college votes. That's what landslides look like. A shift of 115,000 votes out of 152 million votes cast in just 3 states hands the win to Harris. It is not reasonable to call a very close election a landslide. A reasonable person can read the transcript of the conversation with the Ukrainian president and decide that it sounds distinctly like extortion. When we stop funding vital health research projects and fire the medical professionals who have done yeoman's work, keeping us safe from global health threats, a reasonable person can conclude that the current regime at HHS is not interested in real scientific investigation. A reasonable person can tell the difference between a riot and a typical tourist visit. The president's role in that riot is clear. Any attempt to sweep January 6th under the rug, as the Chinese do with their atrocities on Tiananmen Square, is not reasonable. The founder of the crypto firm Binance was pardoned and now can go back to running the company that fined $4 billion and facilitated transactions between cyber criminals and terrorist groups. Binance pumped $2 billion into the president's crypto firm. Once upon a time, reasonable people were convinced that Clinton's pardon of Mark Rich reached a pay to play. Where are those reasonable people now? Back to the Nazi thing. After the 2016 election, Richard Spencer led a group of earnest people in chants of Hail Trump and Hail Victory, the English translation of Sieg Heil. This chant was complete with outstretched arms in what any reasonable person would characterize as a Nazi salute. Musk most assuredly made the same salute. A recent trove of emails from young Republicans touted their love for Hitler and contained other white supremacist troops. There's an American flag with a swastika in a Republican congressman's office. The president had dinner with an avowed anti-Semitic, Holocaust-denying white supremacist. It is reasonable to conclude that there were not many Nazi apologists who voted for Harris in 2024. I'm not a super intelligent person, but it would be nice if Strothide and I could have a discussion. He'd have to use small words and speak closely, but most of all, we'd have to agree on what constitutes a fact. The earth is not flat. We landed on the moon. The COVID vaccine did not kill more people than COVID. And the 2020 presidential election was free and fair would be a good start. I'm not a lawyer or a doctor, but I am reasonable.
According to a recent article in the Springfield Business Journal, a pair of district library projects are nearing their conclusion. The report was by Mike Cullihan, a reporter for the Springfield Business Journal. A pair of multi-million-dollar construction projects for the Springfield Greene County Library District are close to making their public debut. The first expected to come online is the Hatch Auditorium, a roughly $8.2 million project at the Library Center located at 4653 South Campbell Avenue. Bronco Enterprise Incorporated is the construction manager at Risk currently for the 9,340 square foot auditorium designed by SAP Design Associates Architects. While library officials say January 16th to 18th will be the celebration, which includes concerts, will serve as its grand opening, another event will be opening the facility on December the 2nd. Local Voices, Local Decisions, which includes an interactive panel discussion with local legislatures on policy experts and community leaders, will serve as a soft opening for the facility, said Vicki Hicks, Community Relations Director with the Library District. She said the district's officially takes possession of the auditorium from Branco on November 28. Hatch Auditorium will have 500 seats at the west end of the library center. The library branch currently has 13 meeting spaces, with the largest room fitting 100 people. The Hatch Foundation contributed $600,000 as a naming level donation to the auditorium project, with $200,000 coming from Friends of the Library, according to the budget for the Friends of the Library. Additionally, $300,000 of the $2.34 million estate gift from the late Ava Louise Garger Smith is being used by the Library Foundation for the auditorium. Its lobby is being named in her honor. When we put in the retractable seats, we were just blown away by them, Hicks said. It's going to be such a great community space, and we're really think we're going to have interest both for library uses, but also renting that space for the nonprofit and business community. Hicks said Stephanie Hornickel was recently hired by the library district to serve as an event space coordinator to aid in promoting the auditorium to the community. As the Hatch Auditorium debuts next month, January is expected to mark the launch of the new Republic Branch Library. The 22,000 square foot building is nearing conclusion of its first phase, which will allow patrons to access the facility by January 20th, said Tyesha Shea, manager of the Republic Branch. The new branch is under construction on the same property where the current facility operates at 921 North Lindsay Avenue. Nabholz Construction is serving as general contractor for the project designed by Paragon Architecture, LLC. The new branch will more than double its existing space and is being tackled in two phases. It will feature a 150-seat auditorium, expanded youth services, and a section that has a much larger children's area with a dedicated storytime space and an adjoining teen area. Additionally, it will include 6 meeting rooms, a maker space for patrons to create recordings, music, and videos, an outdoor patio and nature walking trail, according to past reporting. Our big auditorium will not be able to be used until we officially finish the entire project, because phase 2 of the project is demolishing our existing branch and making that required parking. Additionally, the project cost is estimated at $11.1 million, which includes furniture and equipment. We will still be a construction site through the end of April 2026. The Friends of the Library provided a $500,000 gift for naming rights for the auditorium, Shea said, while one of the facility's meeting rooms is named for the Arvest Foundation after it provided a $10,000 donation. A grand opening for the completed facility is set for June 1, noting December 6 will be the last day of operation in the current branch. That day, the library will involve a special event commemorating the end of the facility it has occupied since 2009. We're going to have a human book chain where we will be passing materials from the old branch to the new branch, she said, adding the event will also include a story time and refreshments. After that, Shea said in-branch visits will temporarily cease until the planned January 20 new branch opening. Drive-up window service will be available January 5th through the 16th. Our community has just been so supportive and encouraging this whole time for us, and they are very excited to see the new building, she said. When they see it, I think they're going to be blown away. It is very beautifully designed. The opening of Hatch Auditorium will serve the need for larger capacity events at the library, Hicks said, noting the retractable seats will allow the open floor seating. She said the facility will provide seating for around 200 for meals. The library has hosted events such as the Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce Good Morning Springfield, and the past couple of years, which Hicks said has required efforts to accommodate the roughly 400 people at the gathering. Our programming needs are just so huge, we've outgrown the 100-seat auditorium that we had, she said. We have a dedicated space, so we don't have to worry about relocating half the library. Library district officials say American Rescue Plan Act funds secured 3 years ago are helping finance the project. The Republic branch received around $5 million, while $4 million went to the Library Center. The Hatch Auditorium and Republic Branch Library openings will mark the final major projects the Library District began tackling in 2024. The first of 3 projects involved renovation and upgrading to the Midtown Carnegie branch. The branch at 397 East Central Street closed in May of 24 and reopened in June of 2025 for the $4.5 million project for which Crossland Construction served as general contractor and Dake Wells Architecture was the architect. The project, in part, provided a new library entrance designed to offer accessibility pathways to each floor of the library, including restored access to the elevator. The 30,000 square foot building's heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system also was replaced and modernized, according to the past reporting. Shea said for the Republic branch staff, there's both excitement and a little bit of terror waiting for the new facility to open. It's always a challenge to face all the unknowns, she said. We don't know exactly how things are going to go when we set and move our whole collection. We're not exactly for sure how things are going to work when we move into the new branch with all of our new workflow process and things like that. But in general, we're very excited.
We are speaking from the Springfield News-Leader under the outdoors. This article is The Master Gardener Taught Mulching, Removing Honeysuckle and Transplanting Strawberries. This is by Helen Vanella, Master Gardeners of Greene County. She says, I have cleaned out my flower bed and will be mulching before winter. Is there something I should put down before mulching to keep weeds from coming up through that mulch? Mulch alone will usually allow small weeds to grow through and may also allow some light to come through so that weed seeds present in the soil are able to germinate. Many seeds present in the soil require light for germination. Annual weeds will die after frost, but any perennial weeds or grasses will reemerge in the spring. A barrier of some type between the mulch and the soil will help suppress weeds. I have used cardboard, brown only, not glossy, but brown painter paper or a few layers of newspaper, black and white only, are also good choices. The paper or cardboard will also break down over time and add to the soil. Some use of black plastic, but I would not recommend this as it would have been removed before planting and does nothing to add nutrients to the soil, like the breakdown of the paper and mulch. How can I eliminate bush honeysuckle? I have just cut it back in the past, but it always sprouts back again. Invasive bush honeysuckle is a tough one, but can be eliminated. Pulling or cutting smaller plants may help, but there is always the likelihood that enough roots will remain for it to grow again. Removing as much of the roots as possible is important, neither by hand or using a tool to remove the roots. Root popper tools are available and will go a long way in removing the larger roots, preventing new seeds from forming by deadheading. When possible, will help slow the spread until more final measures are taken. Root docking, cutting the roots away from the stump, will help starve the main roots, but may not be enough to eliminate the plant completely. For large plants, a more aggressive approach is important. Cutting the stump as close to the ground as possible is the first step, followed by treating the stump with a 20% solution of glyphosate herbicide. Dabbing or brushing this on will kill the roots and prevent regrowth. Applying a foliar spray to the leaves during the dormant season or after blooming. Using a 1.5 to 2% solution of glyphosate or 25% trichlopher in horticultural oil sprayed on the lower 12 to 15 inches of the bush can also be effective. I have a volunteer strawberry runners that I want to transplant. When should I do this? Fall or spring? I would like to have berries next spring, if possible. Transplanting strawberry runners should be done in the fall or spring. However, it is too late in the season at this time to transplant your produce fruit next spring. Transplants put in the spring will not produce berries until the following year. I would recommend leaving your volunteers in place until next spring.
Guns N' Roses are coming to the Thunder Ridge Nature Arena in 2026, according to Claudette Riley, reporting for the Springfield News-Leader. Guns N' Roses is the first announced show of the 2026 concert season at Thunder Ridge Nature Arena in Ridgedale. The iconic American rock band, which boasts the 11th best-selling album of all times in 1987's Appetite for Destruction, will stop in the Ozarks toward the end of a legendary world tour that starts in Mexico in late March. Tickets for the September 12th show in the Ozarks will go on sale December 5th at thunderridgenaturearena.com. The 31-date tour will include performances in Poland, Ireland, the Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, and France. The tour will include stadiums, arenas, amphitheaters, and festivals. In announcing the tour, Guns N' Roses will also release 2 singles, Nothing and Atlas, the band's first new music since 2023. They will be released on December 2nd of 2025.
And another interim break, a reminder. Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Come by and see us in person with daily deals at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. Veterans receive 25% discount every day, providing significant savings as a token of appreciation for their service. Additionally, the store features a weekly clothing sale where all clothing items as available at 50% off every Wednesday. Seniors aged 55 and older benefit from 25% discount every Tuesday, making shopping more affordable for the senior community.
Tackling his ADHD kept Jay Glazer in the game. Here's how he helped manage his systems. This story comes to us from USA Today via the Springfield News-Leader. Jay Glazer opened his laptop to answer an email. 20 minutes later, he was scrolling through game footage, texting a producer, and looking up a routine. The email, still unsent. That's one of the ways I experienced ADHD, said Glazer, who is a football insider, TV personality, and longtime MMA trainer. I start one thing, my brain jumps to 3 others, and before I know it, I've lost track completely. It doesn't matter if I'm at home or at work. This feeling can follow me anywhere. Glazer reflects that the journey to understand and managing his ADHD symptoms was a winding and sometimes challenging one. Glazer, who is one of approximately 15.5 million U.S. adults who are diagnosed with ADHD and affected by this condition, has over time become an advocate, especially when it comes to speaking openly about its after struggle for years without a clear diagnosis or understanding of his symptoms. Although he experienced symptoms much earlier in life, he didn't realize an official diagnosis until he was in his 20s. Back then, Glazer was a college student, brimming with ambition to make it in the world of sports, yet unable to sit through class and struggling to keep up with deadlines. It was difficult for me to stay consistent or follow through on task, and many times I found myself interrupting during conversations, said Glazer. It can be hard because it's not something I can control. It's a narrative all too familiar for many. The symptoms, present since childhood, are often dismissed, misunderstood, or simply attributed to a difficult personality. Things didn't necessarily get easier once he formally diagnosed with ADHD. In fact, the diagnosis left him even more confused. Sure, he had a name for what he was experiencing, but it was offered no immediate roadmap. He was still left unsure of how to manage these newly labeled symptoms or who to turn to for guidance. I just figured everyone felt the same way, so I kept pushing through, he admits. Dr. Ann Childress, a healthcare provider and ADHD specialist who works with patients across the country, explained that the feeling of being misunderstood is common. People should know that they are not alone, and even though ADHD is often diagnosed in childhood, many adults are diagnosed years after struggling without even realizing it. ADHD is marked by persistent patterns of inattention and/or hyperactivity and impulsivity. It impacts everyone differently, but it can present a consistently interrupting conversations, being easily distracted, multitasking without finishing a task, fidgeting, or difficulty sitting still. These are signs worth discussing with your healthcare provider. Eventually, Glazer did speak to a doctor, but it took years before he was able to figure out a treatment plan that worked for him. My doctor and I initially tried one treatment option, but it wasn't really the right fit for me, he said. Plus, I don't follow a typical 9-to-5 routine, so I needed something that would work with my schedule. Luckily, there are a lot more treatment options today, and I was eventually able to find a non-stimulant called Quelby.
We are speaking of the 417 magazine, titled How Springfield Ballet Has Shaped Dancers and the Arts for 50 Years. Take a look inside Springfield's ballet milestone year. The students who are reaching national programs and the new leadership shaping the future. This is written by Jordan Blomquist. As Springfield Ballet prepares to celebrate its 50th anniversary in 2026, the organization looks ahead to a new era of artistry and inspiration. This milestone season welcomes Jose Soares as our co-artistic director, joining longtime leader Maria Velazquez in guiding the company's next chapter. This is presented by Springfield Ballet, passion for dance, poised for life. The school's young dancers continue to shine on national stages, with several earning acceptance into top-tier summer intensives and year-round programs at prestigious ballet schools across the country. Leading Springfield Ballet into the future, Maria Velasquez began dancing at Springfield Ballet at age 7 and continued as a student through her high school graduation. She went on to train at the Conservatory of Music and Dance at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, before dancing professionally. Velasquez returned to Springfield Ballet in 2021 as a school principal, later moving into the role of Associate Artistic Director. She now serves as co-artistic director of Springfield Ballet. Ballet is a universal language, she says. People can find joy in all types of art, from music to dance to the theatrical elements. There is something for everyone here at Springfield Ballet. That sense of connection has fueled steady growth. In recent years, the company has expanded the Nutcracker from 4 to 8 performances, increased class enrollment, and reached all Springfield public schools, Title I elementary schools, through outreach and in-school performances. For Cerez, who joined in 2025, after years of guest teaching and performing with the company, the role of co-artistic director is both an honor and a responsibility. Trained in Brazil at a Russian school and at Jeffrey Ballet Chicago, he brings a focus on technique, artistry, and dancer well-being. I am not only trained, skilled ballet dancers, but I like to believe that through the discipline of ballet, I am helping shape a generation of thoughtful citizens who develop an appreciation not just for ballet, but for the arts in general, Cerez says.
According to the Springfield News-Leader Meg Cunningham reporter, the USDA has defunded a program to help Missouri farmers, so now they're wondering what's next. When Makia Maruno and her partner Travis Jones started their farm in Collins, Missouri, they didn't expect to be traveling across the state to sell their culinary mushrooms as they grew. Jones was semi-retired and looking for a way to leverage their property for additional income. One night, they decided to dive into farming mushrooms. After a few late-night online purchases, Route 54 Farm was up and running. They made some mistakes along the way, but with the help of now defunded program from the USDA, they spend almost 15 hours a week traveling to various farmers markets and selling to other buyers in Sedalia, Joplin, and Springfield. Owning a business is overwhelming, said Jones. Farming is overwhelming. When the two come together, it's super overwhelming, so we are really grateful to people that help. The Heartline Regional Food Business Center was part of a Biden administration program aimed at increasing the resilience of local food systems following the COVID-19 pandemic. The program aimed to help small and mid-sized farms with things like market access, technical assistance to help them grow and maintain their business. But under Trump administration budget cuts, USDA terminated the program. Now its leaders are figuring out how to move forward under a new moniker, the Heartland Regional Food Business Coalition, and without the millions of dollars in federal funding once used to support their work. The program reimbursed farmers for big purchases and helped make connections between farmers and potential buyers. Jones and Moreno were never selected for monetary support, but the connections they made helped their business take off. We met a lot of people and we needed to meet people to grow our business, Jones said. What's next for the regional food business centers? Heartland was one of a handful of regional food business centers established by the USDA. It officially launched in 2023 to help farmers across Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and some Arkansas counties. The group was slated to get $25 million in funding over 4 years, but it only made one round of grants to farmers before the rest of the funding was rescinded this summer. The only round of funding under USDA Heartland provided was nearly $4 million in financial assistance to 90 farmers after receiving nearly 500 applications from across the region. Heartland was preparing for the second round of Business Builder grants, nearly $9 million in funding, and expected over 1,000 farmers to apply. Instead, it got word that federal funds may be pulled. The group and its farmers ended up waiting 6 months to see if that money would actually be paid out. One farmer was a sunflower producer who was looking for funds to upgrade his packaging process. He was ready and poised to expand his market this year, said Katie Nixon, who currently shepherds the coalition through New Growth, a rural community development corporation in El Dorado Springs, Missouri. But because the funding comes as reimbursements, farmers had to make the upgrades before they could see the money. You're paralyzed. You've gotten this grant, and they say if you spend the money, you're going to get reimbursed, Nixon said. So do you say, well, forget it. I'm just going to go my own way and lose $50,000, or do you wait? Along with programs like Local Food for Schools, which was also eliminated earlier this year, the federal initiative was part of a larger effort to promote local food systems across the country. They took the conditions of the region and really focused to amplify that to provide an unmet demand for the rest of the nation, said Hannah Quigley, a policy specialist for the National Sustainable Architecture Coalition. They were investing in scaling very regional specialized products. Support from the regional centers across the country resulted in more than 2,600 new partnerships between farmers and buyers. On June 2024, USDA brief said that the data showed the program was taking off. Farmers were starting to report improved processing, distribution, storage, and aggregation of regional food products as a result of the support their regional centers were given under the initiative. Part of the reason for this success is because the money was there to actually keep people involved in the conversation. There are so many demands on small farmers, Nixon said. Without the possibility of some financial support, it can be difficult to prioritize where to spend your time. This just helped relationships become stronger and more formalized because you had money to keep people at the table, Nixon said. We know that a lot of food and farm businesses came to us for technical assistance because they saw the business builder opportunity, Nixon said. So having that funding to be able to offer really gets people motivated. Only a small portion of federal farm support goes to producers of specialty crops, which includes products like fruits, vegetables, or nursery crops, Quigley said. In the 1970s, the U.S. was a net exporter of those specialty crops. By the mid-1990s, it became a net importer. Still, in 2020, specialty crops contributed nearly $54 billion to U.S. agriculture's $363 billion in cash receipts, the USDA 2020 data shows. We have plenty of land, and the way that our food system is organized right now with commodity crops, most of those are grown specifically to send somewhere else to export, Nixon said. What if even just a sliver of that energy was actually to domesticate real food products? For smaller farmers, having a dedicated support for funding and market access could make a huge difference in their success. Heartland hosts monthly new farmer calls and connects farmers with established mentors to help them grow their specialty crop. They are connecting these farmers who might not have immediately known how to get connected to a distributor, Quigley said. I think a farmer could figure it out, but it might take them 2 full years, potentially 3 different growing seasons to figure it out. From July 2023 to June 2024, the centers nationwide formalized more than 250 partnerships for their farmers. In the last 6 months of 2024, they finalized 466. They were trying to reach the farmers who traditionally don't receive USDA loans, Nixon said. Nixon and her colleagues are looking for sources to make up for some of the lost USDA funding, but what exactly that means still remains unclear. Local food is not easy, Nixon said. We're trying to make it easier. Part of the difficulty in building up more regional food systems comes from connecting farmers to wholesale buyers who need a large quantity of produce. That was some of what the regional centers were aiming to address. In some cases, they connected small farmers to an aggregator or someone who brokered purchases. Then they were able to aggregate them, buy from the small farmers, and sell to a single buyer. That structure could help incentivize large purchasers like food banks, states, and school districts to buy more local food. Because of the control wholesale grocer suppliers have over those markets, it can be more difficult for businesses to stray away from what has become the mainstream model for buying food. Quigley pointed to agreements the USDA has with states that let's take more of a hands-on approach to local food purchasing. That brings those contracts down from a national scale to a 12-state scale down to a single state scale, Quigley said. It allows for a greater number of farmers and businesses to be able to successfully bid on those contracts. They don't have to have a distribution network to serve 12 states. They can serve just a single state. A 2020 local food marketing survey found that the number of farms selling local produce fell by 12% nationwide from 2015 to 2020. Still, Missouri is seeing some growth when it comes to produce farmers. The 2020 Census of Agriculture in Missouri found that the number of farms working in greenhouses, nurseries, and floriculture production had grown 485 in 2022, up from 348 from 2017. In 2021, more than 90% of the farms selling food directly to consumers were considered small farms. When you buy from somebody local, your money stays local, Marino said. When you're in a local food business, you really get to know people, and we really do support each other. It's part of what I love about this community.
I am speaking of an article from the Springfield Daily Citizen. It is under the heading of Health. The title is Springfield Mom Files Wrongful Death Suit Against Kratom Manufacturers Distributors. Underneath, Brett Brosette was focused on fitness and being healthy. He told his mom he was going to quit drinking coffee and instead take an herbal supplement he believed was safe. That supplement was kratom. According to his mom, Brett Brosette was always focused on fitness and being healthy. He worked out 4:30 to 5:30 every day. He didn't smoke, drink, use drugs, and was a clean eater, his mom, Deborah Brosette, said. Originally from Texas, Brett came to live with his mom in Springfield more than a decade ago after her husband died. He always made the coffee in the morning, and he came home one day and told me, I don't think I'm going to drink coffee anymore because I'm going to take this new supplement. Deborah Brosette recalled, and I said, well, what is it? And he said, oh, it's ancient Chinese medicine. They've been using it for hundreds of years. It's herbal. The supplement was kratom. A few years after that conversation, Deborah Brosette found Brett dead in his bed on October 9th, 2022. He was just 38. Completely baffled and devastated by her seemingly healthy son's sudden death, Deborah Brosette requested an autopsy, which revealed he died as a result of ingesting kratom products. According to the toxicology report, Breck had 3,400 milligrams, nanograms per milliliter of nitroglycerin in his system. He had no other illicit or illegal drugs in his system. His cause of death was listed as nitroglycerin intoxication. It's not working. Nitroglycerin is the active substance in kratom products such as OPMS, gold kratom, extract shots, K-blast kratom, extract shots, safari kratom, platinum kratom, gold kratom chill, and Club 13 kratom. Products Breck often purchased from vape CBD kratom superstore locations in Springfield. According to a wrongful death lawsuit, the Springfield mother forgive me, folks, it is no longer working. I believe we are off the radio. Okay, after it's just returned. After the conversation, Deborah Brissett found Breck dead in his bed, October 9th of 2022. Metroglycin is the active substance in kratom products such as OPMS, gold kratom, extract shots, K-blast extract shots, safari kratom, platinum kratom, gold kratom chill, and Club 13 kratom. Products Breck often purchased from vape CBD kratom superstore located in Springfield, according to a wrongful death lawsuit. The Springfield mother filed in September against numerous manufacturers and distributors of the kratom products Breck consumed regularly. He thought it was all natural and it was safe, Deborah Brissett, crying. He would have never taken it if he thought he was going to die. Companies operate behind webs of LLCs. Attorney Nick Brand is representing Deborah Brissett in the suit. Brand explained the reason the suit names so many defendants. These companies operate behind the webs of LLCs and phony companies to hide what they're doing and their assets. Brand said, if you went and bought a bottle of kratom, you look at the bottle and you would be like, I have no idea who manufactured this. I don't have any idea what's in it. And that's a huge problem. Again, just a final reminder, thank you for listening to us. The Blind Community Thrift Store is a spacious 17,000 square foot spring thrift store located in Springfield, Missouri. It holds the distinction of being the first retail store worldwide to incorporate NaviLens technology, which significantly enhances accessibility for the blind, visual impaired, and non-English speaking individuals. This innovative system enables customers to navigate and shop with minimal assistance, fostering independence and confidence. The store operates as a nonprofit organization dedicated to generating funds that support the provision of adaptive technology, training for the blind and visually impaired community, often at little or no cost. Visitors can learn more about the organization and access its services by visiting the store in person at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri, or by exploring the website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. This website offers comprehensive information about the store's mission, services, and opportunities for community involvement, as well as details about the free store available to residents in the Springfield area.
The cup factory that built Springfield's middle class and what vanished when it closed. This is an article that was in the Daily Citizen, the Springfield Daily Citizen, by Mike O'Brien. The first thing in this article shows is what used to be the Lily Tulip plant, which was started in 1953. And one of the distinguishing things about the Lily Tulip plant is it had a great big paper cup as the very front of its building. So anytime people in Springfield needed to know where the Lily Tulip Cup factory was, you told them, hey, just look for the big paper cup up on Glenstone. And it was arguably the most impactful economic development of the 20th century. It began in Springfield in a sunny day in April of 1950. When a New Yorker named John Cornfield walked into the Chamber of Commerce office and announced that he represented Lily Tulip paper cup manufacturer that was considering building a major plant in Springfield, Missouri. Cornfield, who was a special assistant to the Lily Tulip president, had already quietly scouted around town. His visit was part of an exhaustive research that started months earlier with a preliminary list of about 40 Midwestern communities that the company had identified as possible sites for expansion. When Cornfield broke cover and introduced himself to the Chamber's managing director, Lou Reps, that spring day, the list of contenders had been narrowed to 3 cities. Company officials never would officially identify the other 2, although there was one heavily rumored to be Springfield, 300 miles from northeast of Illinois. Reps were dazzled by what they heard from Cornfield. Lily Tulip executives envisioned spending $2 million to construct a huge plant and a warehouse complex on the order of 1,000 square feet and 200 feet wide that would employ as many as 1,000 production office and support workers. It matched what city leaders had been hoping for to configure Springfield's somewhat stagnant post-World War II economic base. Mid-century, Springfield had limited industrial job opportunities. The Frisco Railway was the city's largest employer, but the conversion from steam-powered locomotives to simpler diesel-electric units had downsized the construction and maintenance workforce at the North Side shop. The Springfield Wagon Company was gone. The Paul Mueller Company was just then moving into its original Commercial Street sheet metal workshop to the modest beginnings of its factory at Phelps Grove Street in Kansas, not yet known as Kansas Expressway. The Lily Tulip plant would be a game changer. They excited civic and business leaders. They agreed as word of the visitor from the east spread around town. And that prediction came true over the following 2 decades. Other outside industries began looking at Springfield as a site for new plants. Kraft, which is the small facility on West Mill Street since 1939, built the first stage of its large food-producing facility on East Bennett Street in 1954. Royal McBee in 1958 constructed its 320,000 square foot typewriter manufacturing plant on East Sunshine Street, which later housed operations by General Electric and Regal Beloit, and today's SRC Holdings. Also in 1958, Dayton Rubber established its V-Belt manufacturing plant in southwest Springfield. High-tech printed circuit boards began being created by Litton Industries in 1963 in a new plant adjacent to what was then the main municipal airport terminal. the largest local industrial operation of all, with its some 6,000 employees assembling Zenith television sets in a plant covering 40 acres on East Kearny Street, opened in 1967. That same year, 3M Corp. Began producing adhesives in a new plant on East Chestnut Expressway. In 1972, the R.T. French Company built its $13 million plant to produce condiments and other food products in Northeast Springfield. However, back in the 1950s, as Lily Tulip's cornfield headed back to Gotham, he conditioned the Ozarkers to not make grand assumptions yet. And indeed, nothing more was heard from the Cup Company for more than 3 months. During the lull, Springfield business leaders did some investigating of their own and learned that Lily Tulip could be a blue-chip addition to the community. The company traced its history back to the early 1900s in New York City and 2 competing manufacturers of newfangled paper drink cups. Coincidentally, both companies had chosen flowers as trademarks for their products. And in 1928, they merged their operation and into the Lily Tulip Corporation. The company survived the Great Depression, then thrived during World War II when the U.S. military bought the entire cup production output. Demand continued to grow after the war. Walter J. Bergman, son of one of the company's founders, took over as president in 1946, and he pushed for expansion beyond its aging New York facilities. In 1947, a modern new plant was constructed in Augusta, Georgia. They sentimented that Lily Tulip's claim as the nation's largest producer of paper containers, and at the end of that decade, the company began looking to build another major plant, this time in the Midwest, the quest that led them to Springfield. So when a second Lily Tulip scout showed up in Springfield in July, he was warmly welcomed. Ernest Gallantly, corporate personnel director for Lily Tulip, arrived on a Friday. Unlike Kornfeld, he immediately alerted chamber leaders that he was in town. However, he insisted that they not contact him nor expect him to consult with them over the weekend. Instead, he spent those 2 days visiting with regular Springfieldians in stores, restaurants, street corners, etc., holding anyone who would tell him what they thought of their hometown. He did employ one tactic that Kornfield reportedly also had used. He hired a taxi and spent several hours being driven around town while chatting with the cabbie and gleaning information about the community. And although it certainly was not a decisive factor, both New Yorkers were struck by an unexpected tidbit learned in their informational investigations. A prominent Springfield business and civic leader and up-and-coming local politician of that day, Nathan Bill Karchmer, was Jewish. A little more than a year later, he was elected Springfield's mayor. Lily Tulip President Bergman himself, a member of the Jewish faith, later confided that that was a pleasant surprise that shattered his East Coast assumption that Springfield was a one-dimension buckle in the Christian Bible Belt. Come that Monday, he went to the chamber office and told reps that everyone he had quizzed over the weekend had praised Springfield as a good place to live. He asked reps to next introduce him to the owners and managers of the largest existing business here. He had pulled out a 7-page questionnaire, reps later told the Springfield Leader and Press newspaper. It took a solid hour and a half for him to ask all of his questions. He was the most thorough man I've ever met. After concluding those inquisitions, he strongly hinted to reps that he liked the answers he heard from the local labor pool, prevailing wages and benefits, school taxes, and how tax revenues were spent. But again, he cautioned against over-optimism. A few weeks later, Gallantly sent the chamber a discouraging letter advising that Lily Tulip's plans for building a new plant somewhere were, quote, put on hold because the Korean War was limiting availability of civilian building supplies. But local spirits were buoyed in November when he called reps and said that a half dozen top company officials were coming to Springfield to get a feel for the community. After arriving by train on November 14th and being treated by chamber leaders to a relaxing dinner during which seriously business talk was forbidden, the Lily Tulip delegation the next day split into two teams. One to conduct more inquiries into Springfield's local market and general business climate, the other to seek out possible building sites for a factory. The highlight of the day for the Springfieldian hosts was the revelation that Lily Tulip was scaling up its plans and seeking to construct a 1,000-foot long facility, but more than twice as wide at 450 feet than what had been indicated earlier, and the projected employment was bumped from the previously 1,000 to as many as 1,500 workers. On the third day, the chamber hosts herded the visitor onto a bus for a tour of the surrounding Ozarks, including stops at a school, now a college, of the Ozarks at Point Lookout and the Bull Shoals Dam, an hydroelectric project then under construction just across the border in Arkansas. On their fourth and final day here, some members of the Lily Tulip entourage were taken aloft in a former B-17 bomber that the Assemblies of God had converted to a passenger use, to give the visitor a bird's eye view of the city and its immediate outskirts. The aerial excursion was suggested by C. Arch Bay, who had yet to become Springfield's longtime postmaster. He was postmaster from 1953 to 1982, but was a commercial real estate agent and investor and a local promoter of local industry development. A couple of years earlier, Bay had chartered a plane and made a similar look down on the town from the clouds, identifying open tracks that could be future factory sites. The Lily Tulip officials said they preferred their plant be located within the city limits on a public bus route so that workers without their own vehicles could easily get to and from the plant. They also wanted easy highway access and possibility of a railroad spur and visibility for the attractive new plant they had in mind. Bay encouraged them to consider a mostly vacant land on the east side of the 1100 block of North Glenstone Avenue, across the street from what had been a military O'Reilly General Hospital during the war and at the time was a treatment and rehab center operated by the Federal Veterans Administration and would soon be known as the Evangel College University. On speculation, Bay got busy securing options for 4 tracts there, totaling just over 100 acres, owned by the Terrell Phillips Chevrolet Agency, local funeral director Jewel Wendell, and the McClure family. The company officially asked the Springfield Chamber leaders to let them know by the end of the month about land availability, utilities, service capabilities, business taxes, and other technical details. A thick packet containing all the requested information was airmailed to New York by the deadline. The return response was quick. Top Lily Tulip officials were planning to return the first week of December, this time led by company president Bergman, who wanted to see Springfield for himself. And on December 5th, 1950, Bergman presided at a news conference at the Kentwood Arms Hotel where he confirmed that Lily Tulip had chosen Springfield as the site for its new plant, a plant that in addition to the $2 million construction price tag would be equipped with another $2 million in state-of-the-art machinery. Bergman announced more good news. In contrast to the growing national trend and dramatically different from the way industrial lured now Lily Tulip would accept no tax breaks nor any other incentives such as the $40,000 the city was prepared to spend to construct new paved roadways. We haven't said we want free land. We haven't asked Springfield to build us a building. We haven't asked for a 10-year tax abatement, as some cities have offered, Bergman noted. He applauded the fact that more than half of Springfield taxes went to support public schools, which he considered vital for the children of Lily Tulip employees, and he said that the company wanted to share that responsibility. We are satisfied to pay fair and equitable prices for what we need. We do not seek a location outside the city to avoid paying taxes. We are satisfied to bear our fair share of everything. We want to become part and parcel of this community. Word quickly turned to action. Even though hired architects and company engineers had finalized plans, ground was broken January 19th, 1951, with the first order of construction, the digging of a warrant of tunnels that would carry utilities throughout the plant. As detailed blueprints developed, the complex grew to include 1 million square feet under roof, air-conditioned, and humidity-controlled. By the end of September 51, a section of the plant had sufficiently completed to allow the installation of the limited cup-making equipment on which to start training the first wave of production workers. On February 25, 1952, the first finished cups ready for shipment started coming off the production line. President Bergman and 7-member Lilly Tulip Board of Directors, which held its first official meeting here for the first time ever outside of the state of New York, journeyed by train to Springfield on June 12, 1952, for a dedication ceremony for the mostly completed plant. They were greeted by newly inaugurated Mayor Karchmer. Local garden club members praised the carefully manicured 21 acres of landscape surrounding the plant. They had a full-time groundskeeper. Staff already had created lush lawns by spreading 1,400 pounds of grass seed and 10,000 pounds of lime and fertilizer, and everyone marveled at the giant facility of a classic paper cup that dominated the main street front of the facility. The first plant manager was Rufus Hovey, who had also been the first manager of Lilly Tulip's Augustus plant. He was succeeded in 1957 by Walter Hubsmith, who presided until 1970, thus becoming the longest tenured manager there. Shirley Perry, who held various managerial and supervisory positions during most of her tenure, was there from 1961 to 2010. And as the employment grew, so did the plant. Those who knew of the middle-of-the-night returns, she often returned to the plant just to look around and make sure everything was going well. Hubsmith's seemingly gruff, graveled, Bronx-bred voice operated the business with a sense of humor and agreed the company's sponsorship of an employee bowling team, provided he could occasionally participate, although he reported he had limited skill in the area. And having a semi-pro baseball player as a young man in New York, he had readily agreed to approve company sponsorship of a fast-pitch softball team. Lilly Tulip grew and grew, and when Walter Bergman decided to retire as the president of Lilly Tulip, he engineered the sale of the company to glass and cardboard box manufacturer Owen, Illinois in 1968. The plant in Springfield and elsewhere were overseen by a newly created Lilly division of Owner, Illinois. And thus that is part of the history of the Lilly Tulip plant in Springfield, Missouri.
This is an article from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Excuse me. It's under the caption of food. McConnell. The Ozarks Pie Project Diary was a way... forgive me, the page just jumped. I didn't touch it. I am reaching there. This is the opinion. Recipes are more than just a list of ingredients. They are a representation of time, a place, a person, and a story. Those are things I pondered frequently since starting the Ozarks Pie Project, an effort I began in early 2024 to bake pie recipes from vintage Ozarks cookbooks. I tell people the project began with a bit of divine intervention. I've long chronicled our region's stories through Ozarks Alive, a cultural preservation project that began in 2015. My goal is to chronicle the region's story through the people, places, and history, so today is better understood tomorrow. Excuse me. As part of that preservation mindset, I started collecting vintage recipe cookbooks. I don't know why I began grabbing them from the flea markets and antique stores, but there was this belief that someone, somewhere, sometime would be interested in this information in their pages. I didn't realize that person was me. But as I stood in my kitchen in early 2024, it suddenly hit me that baking pies from their pages would be a way to elevate the people and organizations behind those cookbooks. And of course, hopefully find some tasty pies. It was a way to bring our past to the forefront through the dishes that Ozarkers of the past loved.
Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news. And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, Springfield News-Leader. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku. All broadcasts are played over KSMU subcarrier at 91.9 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.